I got a let me turn this off for a minute. Hello guys, um I got a few tips for you guys today, but let me turn this off. I did my little research and according to statistics, they say they don't have an exact number as far as how many restaurants are closing, right? But like I always say, I know, a lot of food truck owners, we go through a lot of pain and you spend a lot of money. Sometimes you don't make it. Sometimes you depend on events, and a lot of these events sometimes don't come through. You hire help and you wind up losing. And then, this commissary scam. I got a list put together that is strictly nothing but politics, man. A food truck don't need a commissary, man. I mean, it depends. Um, they say the commissary, as far as what you need it for, is just two things, right? You need the commissary to dump gray water. Okay, well, when I cook at home, where do I dump gray water? Make sense? Where do you dump the oil? I can sell the oil. Well, if my truck is big enough to be my own commissary, what do I need to be? What do I need to pay a commissary for? Uh, well, you need to go wash it there. You can wash your truck anywhere. What's the difference between washing your food truck or washing your pickup truck? Yeah, I don't know, but it is what it is, right? Let me make sure I'm on. Okay, I'm on green here. They said actually in 2026 there are about black box intelligence says about 15% of restaurants are at risk of closing in 2026. Oh yeah. And guess who those main chains are? Okay. Scroll down. Roughly 9% of full service restaurants, such as like casual dining, sit down chains, around 4% of limited service, fast food restaurants, rather. Analysts also predict hundreds or even thousands of restaurant locations could shut down this year alone. Now, some of them would say, well, we're renovating, we are recalculating. And guess what these chains are? You got Wendy's, you got Pizza Hut. Like I said, if you are in the food truck business, get your food truck going, get your licensing and everything, go through the bullshit they put you through, and then just find yourself a nice spot. Another thing I'm noticing too, I'm noticing that in two states, Georgia and the state of Florida, politicians, I don't know, or some rich guys came up with this idea where they can take your food truck and put it in a food truck park and make money off of you. If that's something that you want to get into and do get the experience, that's fine. But to me, the best the best way to operate a food truck is your own little piece of land. And if it's a C2, you can afford a C2, you'll do really good. Yeah, you would. You would really do good because you don't have that competition. One of the worst things about a food truck is competition. You got this taco truck next to you, and then you got this burger truck next to you, and then you got everybody else. When you start making money because your truck is bigger and you got a better plan, you create a lot of jealousy, and a lot of it is unknown jealousy. So you don't want to get into like a food truck park in case there's a fire, then you can't get out fast enough. That's not me. I don't feel comfortable around that. Now, Papa John's, okay. Now, for you food trucks, there are places. There's a place downtown that you can buy pizza made. Actually, you can buy as many as you want, between 8 and 12 inches. You don't have to do frozen pizza. These guys make real. They make real good pizza. If you guys are interested, you could send me a comment. I'll leave it in the comments. Subscribe, please, guys. Give me a thumbs up. Let's encourage the show. Okay, Denny's. Imagine if Denny's is closing and you do burgers, right? Denny's pretty much do like a smash burger, unlike Burger King that's already prepped and stuff like that. I don't like Denny's burger because the meat is gamey. Honestly, I'm a Burger King kind of guy simply because of the flame. But I don't eat out. Period. I don't eat out. Okay, Red Robin. What is Red Robin? What do they do? I guess it's another TGI Friday. Now I just named one, two, three, four, five, six Applebee's, seven restaurants that are like planning on closing. Why? Higher cost, rising labor wages, rent, debt pressure. Now, I have a food trailer that I think I'm gonna gut it out and make a little takeout restaurant. I'm gonna make a little takeout restaurant because you catch more trouble, more flack from inspectors and people that are jealous when you have a food truck than you can imagine. They'll walk up to you, oh, somebody called about something. Now you got to sit there and play dead. Okay, and especially depending on it all depends on what politician did what, man. That's just the way the South is. That's how I see it. They can go up there and lobby selling commodes and shit. As long as the politicians get their fair share, they'll pass a bill in favor, man. Food trucks, I don't know if we have a politician, but I think food trucks actually right now is going to make its way into society. Look at the economy, look what's going on. But I don't know what lens that you are looking at the economy. I'm looking at it in a straight up real lens. This economy is failing. Restaurants are closing. Point blank, get your food truck out. Find yourself a spot. Now, I'm gonna speak for two states. State of Georgia, state of Florida. In order for you to have a food truck somewhere, it's got to be a C2. Unless you find a way to grandfather yourself in there. Um, let's say, for instance, you got yourself a 20-foot food truck, fully licensed, and don't be surprised if you are in a parking lot selling food. Some guy with a grill, man, some guy with a barbecue grill, he comes in and he starts making money right away. Because people like smoke. Now, combination, your food truck, a barbecue grill, you will kill it. That's the honest truth. But the guy with the grill won't be there long because the state does not allow a guy to come somewhere in some parking lot and suddenly show up and start making money because the requirements in order for you to sell food in the state of Florida and Georgia, you got to have the proper paperwork. This is where we win over grills. And of course, restaurants win over us because, you can be at a parking lot somewhere. Next thing you know, they'll call code enforcement. They won't call the police because the police don't do code. They'll call code enforcement, and code enforcement just happened to be a friend of the restaurant, or they just happen to want to do a favor. This shit happens, guys. Oh no, it happens. Believe me, I know it happens. And then code enforcement is going to come up to you and say, what are you doing here? Well, I'm selling food. Who gave you permission? Mr. Joe. Where's the paper? There's the paper. Is it notarized? Yes, it's notarized. And then they're going to come up with confusion. They're going to confuse you in so many ways. Hopefully, you get mad and be gone. If you sit there, you are on C2, meaning commercial 2. You have your paperwork. You got your surf safe. You got your garbage can. You're not playing music. You don't have signs everywhere. That code enforcement can't touch you, man. No, can't tell you jack diddly because they want to do their buddy restaurant buddies a favor, and then now that you are selling food, that restaurant is probably failing anyway or not selling as much food. Code enforcement is going to come tell you to move. That's not their job. Okay? Well, say, look, give me the paperwork, show me the violations, and I'll take it up to the board. You get her number, email address, you type up a nice letter, and you request a hearing. You can do that. Okay? Code enforcement has a habit of when they show up, you're supposed to panic. And if you don't panic, they panic. And then why are you not panicking? That's how they think. These guys are like part law enforcement, so they have that, you know, that kind of policing in them. So just go to the board. You don't have to be pissed off at them. When you go to the board is going to tell you, hey, you know, this is it. That's the way it is. And then you look it up at your Muni code. It says, no, the food truck can park here for a certain amount of time, or I have permission to be here. What is it? What's the problem? What am I causing? What's the issue? Well, you're causing a parking issue. That's why I am sitting on a C2. I am not sitting on a C1. You just got to show them you know the law. You know your law. And then, well, you know, it sometimes it feels like some shakedown organization because you know what? You can be in, say, on one part of Orlando, and then they got one rule, and then there's another part, they got another rule. And it's the same county, same city, same state. You just got to watch out for stuff like that. But anyway, back to the closing restaurants. Okay, for context, the U.S. has over 700,000 restaurant locations total. So even a small percentage means tens of thousands of restaurants could disappear or restructure this year. What would you think restructure mean? I remember way back when was it Burger King that was actually failing, and what was it, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing? I can't remember which basketball player. He came up with an idea. I think it was Michael Jordan. He came up with an idea of doing a drive-through Burger King, like Checkers and Rallies, right? And it succeeded in Miami. I haven't seen many of them here in Central Florida, but it did succeed in Miami. So restructure means what? They're going to start cutting back, cutting down, just drive through, and eventually they'll close because rent is expensive. The taxes, the rent, you got to pay recycling, you got to pay for the licensing, employees, W-2, you got to do the grease trap, you got to do maintenance, something breaks down. It's a lot of work. It's a lot when you have a restaurant. People with a huge restaurant look at a food truck like, wow, I should have done this. Because usually when they get into a lease, it's usually like a 5-year lease, tens of thousands of dollars down. And then the most and the worst thing that can happen to you if you rent a restaurant in some shopping center and you start making money, here comes somebody else with another idea. Now you got competition left, you got competition right. That's one of the things that you should never make as a mistake if you want to go rent do a small little restaurant and go in some shopping center and open up. As soon as you start making money, you'll end up having to compete with maybe 3 or 4 restaurants because these landlords they don't care about who they put next to you because what they are, well, you do hibachi, he does burgers. What's the damn difference? That's one hibachi plate I'm not selling because the person you just usually change their mind and go get a burger. So you got to be careful actually where you if you do a restaurant or you want to open one up, you got to be able to make that difference. Are you going to be the only person in that shopping center? Okay, so Hold on. Yeah, are you going to be the one that's there? And all right, give me 1 minute. I'm back to back to the food truck thing. Let me see. Well, bro, I love you too, man. All right, Matthew Ridno. Yeah, if you ever thought about getting into the food truck business, this is it. This is it because a lot of these big restaurants are closing down, and I don't think a lot of equipment's going to be for sale. You might want to look around for auctions, like places like on Facebook. You're gonna find a lot of good equipment, coolers and ice machines and things. Look out. 700,000 restaurants. Huh. And they say just about just say a tenth of thousands of restaurants could disappear or restructure this year. So, like I said, if you have any food truck questions in the meantime, let me go here and get some more information about these closures because I remember the ghost kitchens during the we had a depression during George Bush. A lot of ghost kitchens kind of just popped up out of nowhere, and then after COVID, it came even broader. You know, that was a depression in itself, and a lot of food trucks actually sprouted, man. And the thing is, um, this state right here don't like food trucks. If I can actually generalize it, put it in a broad way, they don't like food trucks because a lot of them are actually not paid but bribed. It's like, okay, just say you're like next to an Applebee's and then you're grilling and then Applebee's is gonna call somebody from the state somehow. They're gonna find a reason to get rid of you. I had a guy who had a barbecue food boat, okay, and he was selling on water. He was actually selling barbecue on his little boat. And I remember he went to some marina. He was selling there next to the marina. The marina had a couple of restaurants in there. And then they called the state of Florida. The state of Florida had the fire people, a fire rescue, take a boat and go sight this man in the middle of a lake somewhere, a river. So these people, they just show you that they don't like you. No matter how much of the paperwork that you accomplish, like you buy your food truck, you get the plans, you get the equipment put in, or you buy the trailer rather. You get everything put in, you got a plan, a blueprint, you send it to Tallahassee, they approve it, you pay the money, you get your serve safe, you get your county license tax receipt. You see how many people you done paid? You haven't been paid yet, right? And then now it's like, okay, what do I do with the food truck? Well, you pass inspection, get a commissary. What do you do with the food truck? Well, I'm gonna, it's brand new, you're gung ho and ready to go. Your first stop, okay, you are allowed 15 minutes to stop somewhere. See, this is one of the reasons why I don't suggest you getting a big food trailer or a long food truck. Yes, it's roomy. Yes, it's got a lot of play on the inside. People don't have to, bump into each other. But the disadvantage of having too big of a food trailer is you can't take it anywhere. A big food truck with gas these days, a V8, most likely it's going to be a V8. More than likely, the motor is going to be some kind of diesel. Let me pick a diesel. The Cummins gas is five something a gallon. Good luck. If it's a V8 Chevrolet Grumman, oh boy, I've seen V10s. I've seen 7.3 Internationals. Those are gas guzzlers. Those are any American motor that you put in the food truck that you buy. Those are gas guzzlers. Now, If you can manage to get yourself a nice food truck like a Japanese diesel, like a like a UD, which is Universal, what is it? Universal Nissan diesel something? Universal diesel. Those are really good on gas. But if you got a food truck man with a V8, a 7.3 or some the Cummins 6 point something, I think it is. No, it's a 4 point something. It's a four cylinder. It's a four cylinder Cummins. I can't remember, but that probably yeah. But as far as driving around with a food truck, no. Now you could do a small little trailer. They call them taco trucks, but you could sell anything. You could get a small little trailer, so you can zip around town faster. You know what I mean? But the smaller the trailer, the less self sufficient you are. Yeah, because you got no storage space. It's like and on that note, just pick your poison. Yes, the small trailer you can whip around town with it. The big one you can't. The big UPS size trucks, those burn a lot of gas, man. Those are gas guzzlers. That's why Amazon went to the electric. Okay, yeah, drill baby drill. That's why he went over to the electric, so that way he can save on fuel. I don't know how long the batteries last. I mean, these things work all day. So you got to pick your choice. If you want to do like a small fruit truck, a small fruit truck, for instance, they don't have that many requirements in most counties. Some counties won't bother you, some will. You're basically selling fruits, but you do need to have some kind of a handling certificate, refrigeration, hand sinks. That's about it. I mean, you don't have a stove, you don't have a deep fryer, you don't have the huge fridges and everything that the food truck has. So therefore, to me, a smaller one. To me, the smaller one it's just a choice. I like them big. If I'm inside there, you park somewhere and you're making money. As far as taking a big, huge trailer like that to like some catering event, to me, no. I mean, if somebody says, "Well, I need catering," and once you guys agree, I would rather do the catering if you have a commissary and transport it in your van. If you have a van, or you can rent a U-Haul, and then you get all the warmers and stuff together. Because by the time my trailer, by the time I take that big thing to your house, forget about it. No, you don't. You don't want to do that. That's why you have a truck that's called self-sufficiency, because you can cook in it. You can do what you want inside of it. The only thing is you just say, you know, they want you to have a commissary. I don't know if commissaries actually can be paid every time, or do you have to pay the commissary every year? I don't. I don't know. I wonder if they can make that deal like every time you go dump, you pay them. And this is all the stuff that I'm talking about, where there's a systematic racism in everything that happens in the state of Florida. And the system, I mean, it's like you got scholars, you got these people that actually, I think you got people that are actually paid to disrupt certain industries. They get paid for that. If a food truck is self sufficient, what does it need a commissary for? Tell me. I don't know why. Well, the first thing they ask you, where's your commissary? So the first thing they do, well, they look down at you as if like you are some small little scale that, hey, you have to have a commissary. That's like living on a plantation. You know what I'm saying? You got your own business, but you need somebody else to take money from you. In the state of Georgia, they require you can actually have your own commissary, which is a damn restaurant, by the way. Um, Georgia, you can build your own commissary and you can have your own grease trap. Not big. You set it up. You set up, whatever it is that they require for the commissary. But if you got a big enough truck, what do you need? That's my question. You got a big enough truck. What do you need a commissary for? But they want you. Actually, that's what they. It's just part of making money. Yeah, I'm sure you figured out by now. If you got money, you do what you want to do, right? In this place, right? But as far as back to the restaurant chains actually that are closing, um, there are rumors that Papa John's and stuff like that, just like Godfather's Pizza. Remember that mess that closed down? And a lot of these big chains will close. Oh yeah. Let me see, 13 of them, according to Yahoo Finance. Uh, you guys have any food truck questions, man? Just go ahead. And there's another 13 of them that actually they plan to shut down. Long John Silver's, oh, Silver, Outback Steakhouse. That was already on its. Of course, I said Wendy's. Boston Market, that's been gone. Well, in Florida. Smoky Bones on the border. Bar Louie, Hardee's, Denny's. Hardee's is like you got one in your neighborhood. It's like one of the last of the Mohicans. You know, they're known for their meat sandwiches, biscuits and gravy, that stuff. Jack in the Box, Noodles and Company, Starbucks. Wow. TGI Fridays. I think we said that one. That one there started closing down in 2025 anyway. So, I just got a message to all you food trucks, true food truckers. Um, if you do have a food truck, get it together, and then restaurants are going to start closing down. Jobs diminishing, unemployment up through the roof, foreclosures latent as hell. No one's talking about it. Schools closing down. The Department of Education shut down. It's just like it's barely existing. Trust me. Food is going to get really expensive. So I don't want you to have a menu with 100 things on it. You can do really well with two things on the menu. You can do two hot dogs, two sausages, or one Philly, one Italian, one meatball, one Philly. You could start off with that. Philly and fries. Start off with that. If you do a burger, do another burger. Same bread. Do a chicken sandwich, do a smash burger. Keep it simple. As far as your drinks, people like Gatorade, man. People just drink Gatorade. You can do your other stuff, but don't complicate the food truck. Okay? Um, when you got 10 things on the menu, when you go shopping, you buy too many things. Okay? A lot of it you don't sell, it ends up being somewhere. And then you're like, well, didn't I buy this? And the next thing you know, you're buying it again. When you get your truck built, don't get a whole bunch of cabinets and stuff. I see a lot of people, they get a whole bunch of cabinets and things, and you don't have to do that. You need a cabinet to keep your spice, one for your napkins and spoons, the other one's for storage of some kind of a miscellaneous stuff. And you could do one cabinet for bread, or your wrap or whatever it is, edibles, and then that's basically what you need. Okay, there's a company in Orlando that builds food trucks. I'm not gonna say their name. These guys have a habit of building your food truck and give you this wooden cabinet that's like with the sinks sitting on top of it. That's not good. If you getting your food trailer built or your food truck built, make sure that where the sink is not a wooden cabinet. It happened to me. Okay, so two things on the menu to begin with. You have more control. You have prep time ahead of time. Customer walks in, you hand the person the food. Okay. You don't want to get too busy in a food truck. I'm gonna tell you why. It's really tiring, and most times food trucks are very hot. Okay. In some cases, you might want to leave room for Uber. You can do Uber, just up your price another $5 because Uber is going to take 30%, and nobody seems to understand those numbers. If you sell for $100, Uber's taking 30. Okay, so 30% they deliver for you. So if you had to deliver, you would probably be out of the truck. Now you're losing customers. So you got to pick your poison in this one. Okay. Uber does have a program where you can do your own delivery, but you got to be set up for that. You're not going to be set up for that right away as soon as you start the food truck and stuff like that. You want to gain trust. You want to be somewhere, for instance, where there's foot traffic next to a school or next to some kind of a mall or some kind of a somewhere you can guarantee food traffic. Between food traffic, Uber Eats or Postmates or whichever you want to choose, I think you can do pretty well. Um, Try to be unique at what you do. Um, a food truck is a restaurant. It's not some fantasy thing where people say, "Well, this guy he's got some exotic things like fried waffles or something and stuff like that." No, keep your food truck as if you yourself wanted to buy lunch. You're at work or whatever it is, and then take it like that's just take it. Like two menus at a time. Eventually, you're probably gonna start adding. You might add another sandwich. You may add, another. You could do the Italian, the Philly, or you could do a smoked sausage, or you could do like the mortadella, or you could just keep it all sandwiches, hot dogs and all, like Sonic. You don't have to jump from tacos to burgers, from burgers to hot dogs to Philly, and then you doing rice and beans. No, that's not gonna work for you. If you're a rice and beans Caribbean truck, get out there and sell some oxtails. Good luck buying them. Okay. Okay, I got a Jets fan in here. What's up? Yeah. Man, I had the Jets bike when I was a kid and all, bro. Don't crowd your menu, don't crowd your truck. Keep everything nice and clean. When you're done, at the end of the day, you hose it down, you spray, and then all your sauces and all your mustard and all that stuff, it's best to refrigerate them, even though they say, well, sauce you know, doesn't spoil. I refrigerate them. I refrigerate mustard, the ketchup, the mayo, especially mayo, and then peace of mind. You come back in the morning. Somebody asked me something about gas. Should they turn on the gas before they what was the question? Should I turn on the gas before we turn on the stove? Don't do that. I know that's what the book says. That's what the big restaurants. Well, as soon as you come in, turn on the fan. No, don't do that. Okay, this is my own experience. I think one of us hit one of the gas buttons in one of the stoves, and we left for a couple hours and came back. Inside of the food truck was actually like asphyxiated with gas. Okay, I told my wife, no, don't turn it on. If there's a spark, that can be a problem. Switches, electricity, sparks. The first thing you do when you walk in your truck, you make sure there's no gas smell. Check all the valves. Okay, don't be careless. I've seen some crazy shit happen in these trucks, man. You make sure you smell. Open the windows. Let's make sure everything gets aerated. Then you can turn the fan on. Okay, that's just word to the wise. So that way you don't blow up anything. That was somebody's, a question that they asked. But back to the top of the conversation. Uh, Food trucks 2026 are in right now. They're gonna have to ease up on these laws. Okay, eventually they're gonna have to ease up on these laws where you can park, where you can't park, and with the rules. They tell you to do one thing, and then the code enforcement officer comes up and tells you something else. That's the most irking, the most annoying part about having a food truck. So if you can find yourself a spot that you can be permanent, go for it. Gas is expensive. You're running a V8 motor, and then you got a generator that's like, also on gas. If you do the math, man, gas is $4 a gallon. I got a generator myself that takes 11 gallons. It's 15,000 watts. Can you imagine that? The motor, the truck, no. Price of food, no. That's why these restaurants are closing, and I think you should, if you have a food truck, to take advantage of it. Take advantage of the moment. Okay. I'll answer any of your questions about a food truck. If you have one, or if you want to open up a food truck, licensing, serve safe, everything else. Why is my stomach growling? Oh, I didn't eat yet. Okay, that's fine. It's a lot of jobs that are going to be lost. Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. I don't think people are paying attention enough. I think, well, Red Lobsters, no. Red Lobsters, they've been closed. I think 2024. You got a few far in between the restaurants that are like probably just keeping the flame, probably privately owned. So I don't know, America. What are you going to do? Things are changing. So get your food truck out. In some cases, Uber can actually, you can park in a yard somewhere and Uber can come and pick up the food from your food truck. Doesn't have to be at some, mall, or they changed the rules, man. Boy, Uber changed the rules. I mean, America is like, we don't have this authority, we've lost the yellow cab because of Uber, right? You remember that? So what I want to say is, you had the generation before us, before me, and they came and made their own rules. And you, as a youngin, you came in, you thought you had an idea, which was probably a better idea than theirs, and then you present it to somebody or to the board. You go to the city with it. Oh, that's no good. That person is already somebody's already thought. That idea has already been implemented. That's which is a lie. Everything gets lobbied. Okay, the rules have changed. I remember way back in New York, you couldn't drive a taxi of your own in Manhattan. It better not said taxi. Then Uber came and changed the rules. Down here in Disney, you couldn't pick up anybody. They would call it soliciting. They have their own police, and you get in trouble. So now what? Uber changed the rules. You call, Uber picks you up. You can be in the middle of Disney. They can't. Uber can't. Disney can't stop Uber from picking you up. So where I'm at is the rules have changed, and I think the food truck law is actually changing. It's going to change. They're going to have no choice. Either you as the city or county, instead of wasting money on stupidity, build these food trucks like like a park. Regulate the rules. You can't have 10,000 taco trucks. Everybody's selling tacos. No, one taco truck, one fried chicken, one burger, one donut, one corn, one on and on. But if you go to food truck world, every truck is a taco truck. I mean, every truck is a mofongo truck. Every truck is the same truck. I can't do that. I got to be by myself somewhere. I can't do it because you're gonna lose money. The state can do it. They can build find some land and then build food trucks and build it, suited for food trucks. Electricity, sewage, toiletries, and things like that. They can do it. No, they're gonna go after Disney and fuck with Disney. It's stupid shit. And that's another waste in Central Florida. That's gonna close soon too. I can guarantee you Disney's gonna close. I can guarantee you Universal's gonna close. I believe me. Believe me. Who's gonna go there? Most people that go to Disney come from Britain. I live here in fake Neverland. Believe me, they're from Britain. A lot of them are from Canada. Canadians don't spend that much. They don't spend as much at Disney, but they do have a lot of real estate in Florida. They're not coming here. Of most of who's been deported, the tourism is to me is gone. Florida don't have any manufacturing. I mean, what Tropicana's gone. A lot of the big ones are closing, like Frito-Lay, I think, PepsiCo, and everything else I mentioned. That stuff is closing down. I mean, Florida's going to have to be gone. It's going to be some agricultural state like it used to be, because property tax has gone up in Florida. I mean, up 50% up. Believe me, I'm a victim of the state of Florida. Everything you do here, you work for somebody that you don't even know. Everything you do. So from what I'm seeing, the construction industry is gone. There goes your roach coach. We still have this authority, this chip, this chip on our shoulder. Like, okay, we're doing good. No, we're not. We're not doing good in anything in Florida. Where was Tropicana? In Sarasota somewhere. That's Tropicana's gone. Sunny Delight. And then the sugarcane industry, Coca-Cola is supposed to be taking that over. Oh shit. Oh well Coca-Cola is they're not using the proper type of sugar. Like, you give a fuck. They're not using the proper types of sugar. They're going to have to say, see, here we go. We're going to take over the cane business. Somebody's going to lobby something. Money's going to come up missing, and they're going to leave it flat on its face like every fucking thing else. Anyway, guys, let's get back to some food truck questions here. Oh, Bahama Breeze. Well, that wasn't too. Bahama Breeze wasn't too. Hooters. It had a rough year in 2025, so the controversial restaurant chain was on the edge of bankruptcy. Well, subsequently, I'm gonna go back to the same that mall, that shopping plaza thing. I mean, you walk into the mall, you got Bubbaloo's Barbecue, you got Chili's, you got. I mean, why do you guys even make money? Like 10 restaurants, and then you got McDonald's on one corner, Burger King on that corner, you got Popeyes in this corner, and you got Checkers. What is it that I don't know? I don't know. I guess I need to know what I don't know because I don't see how 20 restaurants in one shopping center makes money. That's why they're closing. That's why they are closing. They are closing because they've never made money to begin with. Back in '02, after 9/11, the same lies. I witnessed in the city of Orlando, 2002, Albertsons, Bed Bath and Beyond, H. Gregg, Publix, Kmart, Food Cash and Carry, Winn Dixie. Did I say Publix? Yeah. Okay. Well, we're talking economy because we're talking, people need money to buy food. You yourself, as a food trucker, you need money to buy supplies. Everything I said, I noticed closed between the distance of 8 miles. Those stores all closed down because, well, 9/11 happened, right? We went to war. Okay. That was just like a tear in the bucket, man. You wait and see what happens here. Boy, look at him. You wait and see what happens here within this year. Don't go any further. Remember, we still have not gotten over COVID. Not economically, no, no, no. What's happening here right now? I wonder sometimes if people are going to actually survive this. I'm talking about dying, famine, anarchy, civil disobedience, all that stuff put together. I'm wondering if we are going to survive. But as far as the food truck business, this would be to me the best time ever. Can a food truck take EBT? No, a food truck cannot take EBT unless if the food truck is selling hot food. Now I don't know what is it, the SDA or the FDA, the Department of Agriculture, what those guys require. If it's mobile, can they take EBT? I'm not sure. But one thing I know that if you sell hot food, you can't take EBT. If it's selling fruits, uh, and not processed fruits, I don't think so. Let me see. If it's selling fruits, not if it's processed. I think if there's a process behind the food, um, they don't accept EBT. I mean, if a store is selling like provisions, things like sweet potatoes and yams and rice and stuff, yeah. Let me see that. I want to be sure. Well, yeah, a food truck can take EBT only for cold un. See, I was right. Unprepared items intended to be eaten at home. So hot ready, no, no hot meals. Drinks cannot legally be purchased with SNAP EBT unless the state operates, unless there's otherwise some other um, thing. So no, a food truck cannot sell food with EBT unless they sell, I don't know, provisions, things like, bananas and things like that. Can a food truck sell beer? A food truck can sell beer at an event. A food truck cannot be on the street selling beer. You have a license, you get, and if you have an event, you could sell beer. I don't know about liquor, but you can sell beer and wine at your event. And the state of Florida requires a log if you do a lot of events for you to be able to give them something to walk back on, kind of stuff. They put these laws in. 99% of the people you talk to up there have no idea. When you say you come up with something that you do know, okay, they don't have any idea. They'll be quick to tell you, I don't know, go away. That's the attitude. But you got to be persistent. I got a little band-aid here, man. Guys, I don't know. My head is something. Um, can a food truck sell lotto? No, lotto has to be sold on in a store. You can't have a mobile gambling unit. That's what they would consider it as, unless somebody goes up there and lobby it. Yeah, it's okay. See, like I said, they can go up there and pay for it, and then, oh, you can do it. You know. So this is a state where everybody, like, if you ever went fishing in Florida, every beach is private property. Oh, okay. You don't know the rest of the story. Okay. Any food truck questions, guys? How many people I got here? I got 2 thumbs up. That's it. I got to do more lives. Oh, here goes another one. Can you have a toilet in the food truck? Oh boy. You know what? Can you have a toilet in a food truck? if if I build a toilet in my food truck, this is something that you would have to. You know what? Speaking of that, I went to a restaurant in Georgia. Those old mobile, you rock and roll, silver looking trailers with the bar stools. And the guy hooked it up as a breakfast joint, and the bathroom was like right there. Like, oh, whoa. I mean, there's a seat, a booth literally next to the bathroom. So I was like, okay. Didn't smell very nice, but if I build a bathroom in my food truck, it would probably have to be something very well ventilated and a toilet with a cap on it and ventilation, yeah. And an exhaust and a drain port to just, where would you actually dump it? Well, trailer park. That's just too much work. That's too much work. I mean, truck drivers do have portables. I'll tell you that. That's why every plaza on some turnpike smell like piss. A lot of them do that. A lot of them have they got these little portal things, mainly urine, but because if you drive a truck, you figure every 30 miles or so you got yourself a rest area or a gas station of some sort. But that would be my choice. But boy, let me tell you something. Sometimes you need to go. I'm not gonna lie to you. They require for you to have a bathroom or some sort of urinoir or some sort of a even a portable within 100 feet of your truck. I think if you are in that situation, like if you're selling food somewhere that you're alone, it is required to have a portable by law. All right, guys, I think I'm coming up on an hour here, so I hope I don't know. For those of you who are listening, please thumbs up, give me a subscribe. Kind of encourage the channel. Times are hard, times are tough. I understand. I'm not asking for anything else. Basically, just your little thumb, click, subscribe. All right, bye bye now.